Well, this might be a mistake. Smog legal EFI on a 1977 Corvette. Well, the Atomic EFI doesn't come with a vacuum port in the back for power brakes, etc. So, time to hit the machine shop and make this adapter do the job for me. By machine shop, I mean Dremel the hell out of it. Okay, that's taking too long. Let's try the Harbor Freight Sawzall. So the throttle body goes on like any other carburetor, so I'm not going to waste time showing how I did that. We'll cover the more interesting stuff. Well, this part's scary. Fun fact, when you drill a C-free Corvette, everything smells like Bondo dust. So on the Corvette, the fuel lines are right about here. Can't really see it with the camera, but if I stick my hand in there, I can feel it. So hopefully I can just drop the tank a couple of inches, grab onto the line, put on a new one with a spring clamp, and that'll supply the electric fuel pump. Spring clamp should be fine considering it's a suction line and not a pressurized one. So we got the rubber piece out. Make sure to vacuum and clean a little bit and stick a rag in here so you don't get crap in there. And you can see the fuel line I want right here. So I don't need a lot of room to get in there and maneuver. So we'll pick this up under the car. Well, we can see some daylight from the fuel filler on top of the car. You can guess I'm probably under it. We have this brace, so I'm mostly loosened. I'm going to get a floor jack under here so I don't drop the gas tank on my face. Even though I suspect it'll actually kind of hang up and not be a big problem. And we have the bolts on the other side. I just need to wiggle it down a little bit, and then I'll have enough room up top to deal with the clamp situation and bring the hose down this way. And I'll probably mount my first filter right around here into this sheet metal that I guess protects the fiberglass. And we'll go pre-filter, pump, and then post-filter. And yes, I know it's got a lot of surface rust, but it's actually a solid car, except for the radiator support. That'll be another video. And we'll feed the hose along the frame rail and start zip tying it to the existing fuel line and work our way to the front. Not sure if the camera can pick this up, but now plenty of room for activities. The only question mark is, can I feed a fuel line through and get it on the other side of the tank? But first we'll get the original one disconnected. So my floor jack actually didn't go up high enough, so we went with the sketchy safety orange ratchet strap. But we have enough room to do what we need to. Just gotta feed through one fuel line. Bit of a pain, but the new line is on there. Less pain than taking the tank all the way out, so I'll call that a win. Okay, so we're back under the Corvette. Quick piece of advice: once you run the fuel line, if you want to make sure that you didn't pinch it, like up in near the top of the tank area, you might want to blow through the hose to make sure you can blow through it. But don't do it while you're laying under the car, because there might be like a delayed reaction with some gurgling sounds, and then gas will just come flying at you and you have to scramble to get out from underneath the car. Don't ask me how I know. So anyway, now eventually I'm going to go with a return fuel system anyway, so this is kind of temporary. So if I end up putting zip ties, you know why. But right now it's looking like the plan will be take the hose, loop it like this, we'll mount the pre-filter, and then next to that, fuel pump, and then next to that, if there's room, the bigger after filter pump. If not, I'll put the after filter pump a little bit further down in the circuit. So I'm literally laying in the driveway. It's a little bit nicer today because I have cardboard, but I'm not equipped to actually do this and film, so I will cut to something being mounted. Alright, pre-filter and pump are mounted for now. The self-tapping screws that come with the kit were terrible. They just couldn't deal with the sheet metal. So I found a random self-tapper to hold this in, so obviously I have to find some more, but it'll hold it in for now. Have the filter in. Filter's a little confusing. It has an arrow which should be indicating which way the fuel goes. So from the tank into here, out here, this end going into the inlet of the pump. But also it has a contradictory marking on the barb side that says in. That makes me think, well, then is this the input and it goes the other way? But I'm just going to follow the arrow on the side and ignore where it has in written here. I didn't see anything in the instructions clarifying that. So a little weird. Some of the stuff in this kit is a little janky, but hopefully it'll be worth it. Well, I've jumped a little bit from job to job. The fuel line is ran from the tank to the throttle body, so that's complete. There will always be zip ties. They even say zip tie to your old lines, but I need to mount this bracket. Most cars from this era you can get all along the side of the frame rail, but Corvettes kind of have a sunken floor, so it's kind of difficult. So I'm going to test fit the bracket, and if I can't get it against the frame rail like this, you don't want to go underneath any in case you hit a bump or something. You want to have like the frame hit before any part of the fuel system. Then I might actually have to screw it into the floor. Not crazy about that idea, but it already has some holes in the floor anyway, and this looks to be a factory screw to hold a piece of trim, so it's kind of keeping with the Corvette way, I suppose. So we will cut back to this somehow mounted. Apologies for the camera angle. I did do this all while on a Rhino ramp, so I'm like a foot elevated, if anything. So yes, now we're mounted to the floorboard. I've given it a few good tugs and it seems to be on there nice and tight. We've secured the new line to the old fuel line with some zip ties. You can also see this orange wire, which is for the fuel pump. I think I'll actually run that inside the car to the battery box, and then a little hole with a grommet from the battery box over to the tank. Or maybe I can run it along with like the taillight wires. Still remains to be seen. I have to take the interior apart a little bit. But we should be good for now. I'm sure I'll change it in the future. I'll keep making the joke, do it right the fourth time. So we've got everything away from any pipes that can melt it. Yeesh, this is not the prettiest Corvette in the world, I know. Anyway, a little more work to do at the gas tank side to secure things, so we'll go there next maybe. So here's the tank end of the fuel system for now. I do want to go to like a return setup or at least a braided line, so things will get moved around. As I've mentioned, I'll probably do a different wire routing, so no reason to cut up this wire now and then have to splice it later. So we're just curling it up and putting it here for now. You can see it goes all the way to the front. And we got 2 out of the 4 mounting holes. I think it'll be strong for driving around the neighborhood. I can just see the comments now. So we're going up here to the tank. So there has been a change since last time. When I tried to run it along the original fuel line, even from the tank, it kept pinching. And even going along this way, if I tightened the tank up all the way, it pinched it and killed the fuel pressure. So I had to space the bracket down about 1 inch. You won't really be able to see the spacer, but you know, I can barely get my finger in there. I just went the next size up on a nut and used that as a spacer. That's how close it was. Still plenty strong. We have the straps, you know. The tank is as secure as it ever was. So that's this end of the fuel system for now. But if you have a 77 or older where the back window is the flat kind, there really isn't much room between the tank, the top of the tank, and the body. Maybe it's different with 78 when they had the bubble window. I don't know. But that's why I had to space it down. So maybe you'll do the same, or maybe you'll just be smarter and go with like a sumped tank from the beginning. Just have a little bit more of a budget. But anyway, that's it. One final note why I want to go to AN fittings. I started the car the other day and one of the hoses just popped off. I had the clamp pretty tight. Now I've gone even like gorilla tight on it, so hopefully it's okay. And fuel got on the outside of the hose and stained my hand black like they spray painted or something at the MSD warehouse. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that. So I'd rather just have a still braided line, or even better, if I go return, then I can go back to hard line, because you're not doing the whole pulse width modulation deal, which lets you have hard line again, and I'd feel a lot more secure with that. But for now, we're running it just the way it comes out of the box, so this is what we have to deal with. Okay, so plan B for mounting the ECU. Plan A will be a separate video because there's some maybe useful 3D printing stuff in there. But so it looks like under this console is a good spot. We just need a way to secure it, and we need to go with something that's, you know, fairly strong, you know, a good traditional, well accepted way of mounting something. Velcro. Hey, you know, they glue cars together nowadays, so why not try this? I can always bust out an angle drill and try and do the regular screwing it down if need be, but why not just experiment a little? I'm going to do the O2 sensor. You can see we have the plug right there. O2 sensor is going to go right about here. This pipe looks a little gnarly, so instead of trying to clean it up and then weld to it and hope it doesn't blow through, I'm just going to use one of these. Apology for the light changes. So anyway, yeah, this guy will go on. I'm going to drill a hole. And we'll cut back to when it's finished being drilled, because doing that with one hand sucks. Laying on your side on a piece of cardboard. Here we are, big hole drilled. Cleaned it up a little bit with a file. Be nice if I had an actual deburring tool, but in a pinch, a file will do. Now to get this puppy clamped on, and it'll be like magic. Just wait. And abracadabra. Well, it's been more than 48 hours since I last started it, and here's really the main reason why I wanted fuel injection. No pumping the throttle. Same thing that I do with a modern car. Turn it to run. Let the fuel system pressurize a little bit. And whoop, copyright strike. Don't want that. And fires right up. I could rev it right now if I wanted. All things that with a carburetor are a little more problematic unless you have it dialed in just right. And now we're already lowering the idle. Still needs to smooth out a bit. According to the documentation, it can take like a week or so of daily driving for the ECU to learn everything it should. So I'll give it some time before I try messing with more settings. But driven around town, it seems much better than it did before, so I'll take that as a win. So if you found this interesting at all and would like to see more oddball cars, well, I do have a Ranchero, so maybe if there's some subscriptions, likes, comments, yada yada yada, I'll go ahead and update this car too, or maybe put more modern air conditioning in this one, maybe suspension on this one. Give me a suggestion.